4D T-Rex glow-in-the-dark acrylic nail art tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish. Hi everyone! In today's video I'm going to be doing a 4-dimensional T-Rex nail art design that is using mostly acrylic but also just a touch of gel. So when you have the 4D aspect is that the T-Rex's skin can come off and then underneath is his skeleton, or at least a portion of his skeleton. It's his skull and then a little bit of spine and then some ribs. And so that part, the skeleton glows in the dark. So when you're in the dark and you don't have that top portion on, you can see the skeleton and it looks really cool because it's so obviously and easy to tell that it's a T-Rex, so that's fun. And then when you have that the skin part on top of it, the little teeth still show through, so there's still just a tad of that glow in the dark, but it just looks quite realistic and just like it's a T-Rex. So I had so much fun doing this, and I just recently went to a natural history museum, which I love to do, and I was looking at all of the T-Rex fossils, and it just, I don't know, it was really fun. So I hope you like this, and don't forget to click subscribe to my future videos as well. So I'm going to begin with black acrylic and creating my background. Now, I forgot to add in my magnet at this point because, I don't know, it was just one of those moments, and I did add that in later, but if you want, I would probably recommend adding your magnet in now at this point because it's just better that way. And add it right about in the middle of the nail is where I would recommend placing that down. So after you have that layer of black acrylic, if you have your magnet in there, make sure that the magnet is covered up so that you do not see it, and then I'm going to be encasing it with a layer of clear acrylic, but I will also show you how to add magnets to your designs if you do forget, or if you want to add it to a design you did in the past and add another element to it, because it's really quite easy. It's just a little more work. So now I'm going to be filing the nail into shape using my e-file. So just going through, and at this point I'm looking at the nail and thinking, I forgot something. What did I forget to do? And then all of a sudden it dawned on me and I had a decision. Do I start over or do I show you how to add it in? So I'm going to show you how to add it in because it's not too bad. You do have to have an e-file though. So now I'm going to be applying a layer of gel sealer over the top of that nail and curing it. So now using some white gel paint, I'm going to be painting the shape of my T-Rex skeleton. So I'm starting with the jaw area, and then using just tiny bits of gel, I'm going to be outlining all of the different cavities that are in the skull. So there's some sinus cavities, a nasal cavity, an eye cavity, and then just some other ones. I don't really know what they all are. I'm not a paleontologist at all. I just am appreciative of dinosaur fossils, but I'm going to just fill that in like that, and then I'm looking at photo references, so I'm not just pulling all of these cavities out of my ear. They're actually really there. And then I'm going to be adding the ones on the lower portion of the jaw, just like that. That's a lot more solid than the top of the skull. And then I'm just going to follow the line of the spine, just like that. And then I'm going to go through and add teeth. There's really no rhyme or reason to the pattern of which I did things. Normally, I would probably say do the teeth first, just so you have the head area done, and then go ahead and do the spine, but I didn't. So then you're going to add each of those individual little backbones like that. So it's like a thicker line that has a little smaller spot on the end of it. And this is not necessarily something that you have to do perfectly. Just make sure that, if you get the general idea, then you should be good. So now I'm going to be adding the rib bone. So I'm going to start with the first one and then carry down like where the sternum would be, and then add the little arm bone there, and then continue adding rib bones. Like I said, once again, don't cure this quite yet, and make sure that you're using just tiny bits of gel because you don't want to run all over, and if it's too thick, it's going to start to spread. So then after you have that, before it's cured, start pouring on some glow-in-the-dark powder. So just layer that on there really nice and thick, and then cure that. After it's cured, you can just easily remove that extra powder, which I forgot to show you on camera, but just with a brush or a little piece of a paper towel or something. And then with your e-file, if you are going to add your magnet at this point, I would do that right in that little curve of the neck right there. So add a hole and then fill that hole with glue, and then place the magnet inside the hole with the glue, and soak up any extra glue with just a piece of paper towel if there was too much in there, and then fill in around it any of the gaps with some more of that black acrylic. And if it does still show through because you're not really adding too much on top of it, paint that with black paint and then apply gel sealer over that area. So like I said, it's really easy, but I did not apply any gel sealer or anything on top of my T-Rex. I left him just plain, and it's fine. It doesn't really need any extra anything on it. It's perfectly stable and it's not sticky or anything, so that's good to go. So now I wrap that with a layer of plastic wrap, and then placed another magnet on top of the one that's inside the nail. So it goes nail with the magnet, plastic wrap, and then another magnet on top of that. And then with brown acrylic, I'm going to start sculpting out my T-Rex. So I'm going to make sure that I leave his teeth without any acrylic. And if you don't do that, then he's not going to have teeth. And truthfully, a T-Rex that is toothless is not nearly as vicious looking as a toothy T-Rex. So make sure that you leave his teeth visible, because it'd be quite difficult to add them with the acrylic. It's much better if they just show through. And so then I'm going to start, and I'm going to be filling in around him, and he's got a lot thicker of a neck than what his spine shows. So make sure that you thicken that whole area up and make sure that it's not so skinny and thin looking, but it looks a little more hardy and like it could swallow you whole. And so then I'm going to be adding in his body, and as you can see, this is quite lumpy at the moment. I'm not too worried about it being perfect and smooth and appropriately fashioned and all that, just getting acrylic over everything. So now I'm going to be adding just some details to his face. So I put down another bead of that brown acrylic, and I'm going to start, and I'm going to want to kind of give him a really intense brow bone. So I'm going to make sure that I kind of push in where his eye socket would go, and then I'm going to add a little bit more acrylic down by the lower portion of his skull, or of his jaw, and then I'm going to start adding his arm. And I just kind of like the way I did painting the gel, I kind of went back and forth and all over when I was doing this. I didn't really have a normal set thing like I did some arm, and now I'm going back and doing some more on the face. I don't know, I don't have an explanation for that. You can definitely do all of one part at one time, probably be more logical. So the other thing for his face that I did is I wanted to make sure that I kind of left a little indent for his nostril, and now I'm going to be adding his arm, and I went off camera just a bit right there, but I didn't really do anything, so it wasn't too bad. And then adding his two little fingers on the end of his arm there, and then just going through and making sure that everything is the right thickness and everything that I want to be. After that's set, you can peel that off the plastic wrap, but make sure it is completely set before you do that. And then if there's any wrinkles from the plastic wrap underneath, just go through and very carefully fill those in with some brown acrylic. Don't overfill it though, or it's not going to sit on the nail properly, but just any little bits of wrinkles you can go through. So now with diluted white paint, I'm going to highlight my T-Rex, and so I'm just going to take in anywhere where I want it to look like it's a little bit thicker and it's going to catch the light more, just highlight it, and then I'm going to add some brown acrylic paint here and there. You really don't know what color a T-Rex is. I mean, I would guess brown or green if I was to think logically, but I don't really know. He could be purple like Barney. I don't know. So I'm just going to be then adding some black details here and there, and just going through and then adding just a little bit of gold to give him kind of a reflective property, just a little bit, because I don't know, I always think of reptiles as being kind of reflective and shiny. So I'm going to go through and do that, and then using some black and some white, I'm going to be adding his eye. So a black eye with just a white highlight, and then I'm just going to separate his fingers with some black paint, and then apply a layer of matte top coat over the top of him. After that's dry, he is all good to go. So then you can definitely put him back on and take him off and do whatever you like with your little T-Rex. And in the dark, this guy looks so cool. It is probably my favorite glow-in-the-dark thing I've ever made, just because it's so easily recognizable, and it's just like, that's a T-Rex. It's so cool. So I really love this, and I hope you do too, and please share any recreations with me on Facebook and Instagram. I'd love to see them, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!